welcome to the Saltcorn office hours morning edition. At least it's morning for you. Apparently for Greg, it's still the middle of the night, and maybe for someone else, it's late in the afternoon. So I have a couple of things. I don't have that many things actually. Why is that? What have I been doing for the last 2 weeks? Oh, wait, hang on. I just need to close the door. Somebody else is having a meeting. There we go. Hey, Patrick. So we got to... I don't know how many other people are watching this. Probably be more later. Okay, so let's see. Mike, welcome. Morning. I know it's morning for you. Right, let's see. What have I got? What have I been doing for the last... Okay, I've been working on a big project. That has been pushing some things that I may talk about. And then I've got some small things to show you. Some hey Craig, I've got some small things to show you. Look, last time we tried to show this recorder thing, and it didn't really work. So a bunch of issues have been fixed, and it's now in a passable state. I think there are still some problems, and there will be progress, but you can now run a short test. Now I think we need to make sure that it works. This recorder works with all sorts of interactions. I think I caught one where it didn't pick it up, so we just need to get a list of things that doesn't work. I'll talk more about that later. Then I'll talk about the header filters. We've been making a lot of progress on that. And then there's a little bit more work on agents. What have I been doing on agents? Just random small things. I'll see what I can show you. Okay, let's get started. Let's talk about this recorder. So this was in the last office hours. I tried to show it. Jose, good to see you. And I tried to... and it didn't really work, so there were a couple of bugs that we fixed. So now I want to show you how it works, and I know that it works now because I just did it before. I actually practiced, and now I can run a test, and if it doesn't work, it's because I've got some setting wrong. As I said, there will still be some progress. Hey Tam, good to see you. So let's see. So the first thing you got to do. So what we're talking about this recorder. Let me just step back and say what I'm actually talking about. Okay. So we all know, everyone who's used Saltcorn for more than 5 minutes knows that you make a small change and suddenly everything can break. And this isn't just Saltcorn. I don't actually know so much about the other no-code platforms. I guess some of them you can't build very complex applications, so they'll break less. I mean, if you only have 2 screens, you see the failures pretty quickly. But I know that some of them you can build some complicated stuff. I have to try and be nice about other people as well, other people's no-code platforms. Look, in software engineering, for sure it happens, right? We know that it happens that you make a small code change somewhere and suddenly everything breaks. And that happens in Saltcorn as well, and it's just a fact of life of building software, whether it's no code or code. And so in software engineering, people have invented tests, right? QA, and this is a big thing, right? And there's all sorts of different philosophies, and there's different kinds of tests that test code at different granularities. And obviously we have tests as well in the Saltcorn code base, and some of those are, building big applications and testing that they work. Hello. More people are joining. Wow, getting crowded today. Pretty soon somebody will be making the joke that no one comes to this live stream anymore. It's too crowded. Maybe not. Okay, so let's see. What we've done is build a facility in Saltcorn where you can record tests and you can run those to check that your application is still working. This has been a lot of work. I mean, I'm going to show you some stuff, and there's still some issues, but just bear in mind that Christian did all of this work, actually. I didn't do anything on this other than occasionally make some bad suggestions. Look, this has been like 2-3 weeks work. There's definitely scope for improvement, but I think the basic workflow is working. And there are big companies doing this, right? This is their main product. So I think actually we've got a pretty good workflow for recording these. So with no further ado, let's dig in here. So the first thing you got to do is install the module, and it's called Record. It's not the recorder. This is for recording audio and video, which is also a cool plugin. Module, sorry, they're called modules now. Module is better branding than plugins, because plugins never work, but modules always work. So they're called modules. It's the record and rerun module. I've already got it installed, but it's running off the store. You just, on another one, you just press install, and there you go. It works, hopefully. If there are any problems with the installation, just write in, send me an email, make an issue on the Git. I have one computer that it doesn't install on. I don't know if that's like an oddball. So I'd be interested in see if there are other computers in which it doesn't install on. Otherwise, it should be fine. So there you go. You've got your recording module. And what that gives you is, it gives you a view, right? So now here we have a view. Record events. But that needs to be on a table, and I had it this morning, but I want to show you, so I deleted those tables. So we're going to recreate those tables. So we're starting in the state where you just have installed the module. Okay, so you need to create 2 tables. First, you need to record the recording. I don't know why I made this. This is more like a tutorial, but I don't know. I guess since I haven't got that much else to talk about, I'm gonna make this more of a tutorial office hours. But this is so important. Oh, interesting point, Greg. Thanks. Yeah, gotta get the branding right. Okay, so you create a table called recording sessions, and you have to create another table called recording events. Sessions is like one big test, and events is going to be the table that holds each step in that test. So we're creating a recording events. Okay. So, and the recording events has to have a key to the sessions. So this is a simple structure, right? So you have, is this right? I should probably make this required, but I always, oh, by the way, I set this on delete. I almost always set it to cascade now. Don't fear it. It's okay. It works. Okay. In the sessions, we should have a name. You don't have to have a name. Oh, maybe you do have to have a name. I don't know. Just give it a name. It doesn't have to be called name, called whatever you want. And then you can add any other fields you want to, and we'll see this in a second. Maybe. Okay, and the events table has to have a JSON field. So you gotta also have the JSON. I don't know if we made that a dependency. If it isn't, it should be a dependency. So there's a JSON module. You have to have that installed as well. I guess it is. Should I just sneak peek at the recording code here? It is a dependency, so you don't have to install it. It will be installed by itself when you install the record and module. Right, so what am I doing here? Okay, I need a event. This is called event, whatever. And JSON, and it doesn't need a schema. Okay, so that's the basic. That's all we need for the basics. That's it. We'll see in a second that you can add more stuff, and for some functionality you need to, but this is all we need just to run some basic tests. And now I need to create some views. So I should just need to create one view, which is called record events. I call it recorder. And okay, so this is where you can actually leave this on admin, and you probably should with some, if you're on latest release. We made some changes, but you should leave this on admin because users shouldn't be able to record new events, right? They shouldn't be able to record new tests. That's like it. Or I mean, if you have some developer user or some management, then you can set it to staff or whatever. But previously, I'm talking about this because previously you had to set it to public, but that is no longer the case. Okay, so here is the basic view configuration for the that recording view. And so you just have to pick some fields. So you pick your name. That has to be, I guess, that has to be a string field. And that, you know, I made it called the name, so I'm pick that. And then you have to pick this relation to go that goes into a JSON field somewhere, and that's where the event is actually stored. Now this, I don't really know why maybe we don't. Yeah, okay, this is okay. There's a confirmation before you start recording. I'm not sure that's really necessary, but it may or may not be there. But maybe there's a good reason. I don't know why Christian added this. Use API token. This, I'm hoping that this will actually go away. It seems like it's like a little bit of a technicality, and I think it should go away. I'm working on making this option go away and make it do the right thing. But for the moment, it says use API token, and that means you need an API token. So for those of you who don't know, users can have API tokens down here. So now you can see my API, but it's a local server, so it doesn't matter. I should probably hide it, like do like a password thing that hides it. But so users can have an API token. If you don't have it, so let's just remove it. So this is, now there's no API tokens. This is what it will look like when you're starting out. Then you just press generate. And now my user has an API token. So this is, if I have this, I can use that as login credentials. And I can log in, you know, and not really, sorry, that was not right, what I just said. It's not login credentials, but it's credentials for accessing the API. And we need that. So, okay, so if your user has that, then you can use this bit. By the way, little aside, we're gonna make it so you have multiple API tokens. This was kind of bad naive design that you can only have one token. You actually need to, like for serious enterprise, as I'm learning, because I'm talking to someone about this who's using it, you need to have the ability, in like a serious system, you need to have the ability for multiple tokens. So that's gonna it won't be in this release, but that work has already started and it will be part of the next release. But for now, there's just one API token for user. All right, so enough talking. We've created that recorder, and now I have a recorder, and I can run it now and record workflows. Let's just record one and see what happens, and then we can talk about how to run that. Okay, so it just has a name, but I can also give it another name. This is just a default filled in, but I'm going to just, let's call it my first workflow. Okay, and then you start recording. We don't actually need this. Thanks, Greg. Tokens can have customizable read-write access. Interesting idea. I mean, if you want that, you could use another user. Okay, I'll think about that. Okay, let's get back on track here. So we're starting to record. Yeah, so we don't need this button anymore because you'll see in a second how to stop recording. But you start recording, and then I get this pop-up because I had that confirm. Okay, so now I get logged out. I get this little window that shows me that I'm recording. And now I got logged out. I'm now sort of logged out, and I got redirected to the root location. Jose. By the way, I hope it's Jose and not Jose. I think we talked about that before. Maybe I remember it correctly. You said the module could create these tables and fields. I mean, I do think that's true, and there are, as we may see in a second, there are some features of this that does require a more complex module, table structure, and I'm thinking about how to do this because we don't actually have a facility right now for modules to create database tables. I mean, it sort of could. So, but this is something that might be part of a later release, that sort of modules can provide specifications and for tables that are created in the database. So let's so this is, I think you're right that it's too much work, that we have to create this ourselves, and this is a facility that I'm thinking about building. Okay, back to the recording. We still haven't made any progress on this because you guys keep on interrupting me. So let me focus a little bit, and so let's see. So I'm on my home page here. I still haven't done anything. So now I can click around if I want to. I'm going to do that in a second. But the key thing that I want to show you is that I can highlight some text and I can say assert text is present. So that creates an assertion in the test saying this text must be present somewhere in this in the page, in the DOM. I think that is what it is asserting. And so the other thing, I can click somewhere else. I click the link here in the menu, and now I can say that something else is present, right? So now I can say that Herman Melville should be present. And I think that let's just look at that. I think I tried to do something more complicated with this header filter, which I'll show in a second, but it didn't really. I think I'm not sure if it worked. But I've done my 2 steps. I've asserted that there was some text on the root page, and I clicked the link and asserted there was some text on that. So let's just stop. So now we're done with the recording. Need to log back in. And where is it? Okay, so tables. So let's look at, so recording sessions has 1 row. And events has 9 rows, which maybe corresponds to my steps. You can sort of see them here. But let's create some views here of this. List. Actually, no, let's not do it. Let's do this new thing. Oh, I don't have the basic views because I already have one. Okay. List sessions. And okay, so now I see the workflow. Let's see the number of steps. So I'm just gonna add an aggregation here to say how many steps are there. So I pick that relation and I'm counting, and I'm just counting IDs. And okay, so let's see that. So here we go. I got my first workflow is recorded, and it's got 9 events. Maybe I should have called this steps instead of events. This is sort of, maybe that, if you're creating this, maybe call it steps. I think step is a better sort of term. But I forgot about that before. Okay, so now we've got that recording, but now let's talk about how to run it, right? Because otherwise, you need this, right? The point was not just to record that data, but also to be able to make assertions about your application, right? We're doing this so that we can check that our application is working, and for that we need to be able to run those steps. Okay, so what have we got here? Action is something like record, no, rerun user workflow. There we go. All right, run. And what have I got here? So I basically need to fill in the same things. Event, leave that one blank. There's a bunch of stuff here that does get more complicated, and I'll add some of those fields in a second. But these are the ones that you need, like we had before with the view for the recorder. So let's do that. And now let's just run this. Okay, so now I'm getting a little bit nervous. So let's see what happens. What happens if I press run? Oh, by the way, another thing. that I've started doing is almost always click this spinner on click. Did I talk about the async before? This is a new option. You can run it in the background. It's kind of cool. I can't remember if I talked about that last time, but we now have actions can run in the background, and so if they take a long time, that just helps with the browser not timing out. Right. Let's do it. Okay, it's running. Okay, so this says success. So now, let's say some evil... So I was making assertions about this page. Let's say something goes wrong, and some either malicious hacker or a malicious intern changes some text, thereby breaking your application. So now the sort of not really working hello world, sort of bye-bye. Oh, there wasn't. It was by 3i for some reason. Okay, so that text is no longer there, right? So that text that we asserted that was present. And now I'm going to run it. And it says failed. There we go. So we've now tested the application. That's cool, right? Okay, great. I'm happy about this. Right, so now you can sort of do more complicated stuff. And I think, you know, I'm going to go through and do this for a couple of applications. I might even use this as part of a sort of test, integration test in our release before. So we check this before the release. And undoubtedly, there will be some actions that aren't recorded properly. So I'm going to find those and we're going to fix them. And we're going to make sure that you can go through a reasonably complicated... Should we see one that doesn't work? Let's try and do a more complicated. This is what I tried before. Maybe this can go into the next one. Yes, Mike says, would be good if the failed message said what step it failed on. Yeah, that's right. I agree. If we have existing external playwright tests, is there any way they could be imported, do you think? No, but I might write a playwright module at some point that allows you to do something like that. But no, I don't see a way of... because they're defined in code. We have playwright tests as well for Saltcorn. And I know some people may have seen that was the sort of approved way of testing. You know, and I'm sorry about that. I just think it is more complicated. So will they be... No, there's no way to convert them as such to this, but we might do a module where you can run playwright code. That could be interesting because you can. I mean, there is obviously more complicated tests you'll want to do there. So let me think about that. Okay, so let's do the second workflow and let's see if it catches everything. So this is where I thought I had some problems before. So let's do. So I'm going to show you the next feature, but I'm going to show you this inside a test. So the other thing we've been working on is this header filter. I think I sort of had them in the last office hours. But they've just been souped up and they look really nice. So the idea is that if you activate this in the list options, if you activate header filters, maybe I'll show you in a second how to do that. Then you can open that and now you can search, right? So now let's search for Leo. And now I want to assert that Leo Tolstoy is present. Okay, and now I want to stop. So I think this was the one that... Let's see if this works. So now I have my second workflow, and let's try and run this. Waiting in anticipation. I think this is where it's not working. So this is often when playwright tests fail. Those of you who've used that technology before, when they fail, they take a long time to fail because there's a timeout. I wonder if we can actually do so. This is the case in our backend playwright tests as well. they wait for 30 seconds when they can't find what they're looking for. So here, yeah, so it failed and it took a long time. So this is where, we need to go through these, what types of actions are we recording? And, but, for the moment, clicks, asserting texts, and I think running actions should be okay. But clearly this header filter wasn't really working. So that's definitely something to look out for. Okay, what else can you do on this recording session? So we have this, you can do various things. Wait, where's the, you can add a couple of fields to the session. So we can add I hope I'm adding this to the right table. Jose, if I develop an upgrade to an app in my PC and then I want to send the, yeah, okay. Thanks, Jose. I'll get back to that. We have our first real question. I'll talk about how to maintain 2 different servers in a second. Okay, let me just finish this recorder stuff, and then I do want to talk about some other stuff, and then I'll get to the questions. Okay, so let's say we have a file. I shouldn't call this file. So you can add another field to the recorder session. It's called the report. And this is kind of touching on what Mike said. So I think this is how you do it, but now I'm not so sure. So let's see. So I configure the record. No, I configure the run, because it's not about, it's about report file. Oh, you can't see this now because I insist on having my camera on. Report. Oh, files. Oh, I think this is where you need. Yeah, it's not on this table actually. It needs to be on a different. Yeah, it used to be on this table, but it has to be on a different table. So I think you create. Okay, so you create here. So this is like the events, but this stores like runs that you've done. So this again has a session field. And here, I think here we have the file. Oh, sorry, I call it report. And that type is file. Oh, dear. Okay. And so we have a file, and I can also do a success. That's a Boolean. You can call these whatever. You're going to be picking the fields from the configuration. Okay, so now I think if I now go back to that run definition, I think this is right. So recorder runs, success, yeah, yes, okay. So now let's run this. Let's run first the first one. Okay, so that failed because I did the I changed the text, right? Yeah, so I did change it, so it should fail. And now I go into the runs, and I have some. I don't have a report, but I do have a success. Okay, so the success worked, but the report hasn't been set. Does it only do a report? Okay, let's get it back to working. What was this? So it was by 3i. Oh, sorry. It's this one. Oops. I want to record. I want to run this one. So now it should succeed. Okay, so that's success. That's correct. And runs. Does that have a report now? Yes, that has a report. So should we build a... I don't really need all of these. Let's just build a list view. List recorder runs. Oh, that downloads. Yeah, okay. Oh wait, I can just do, I know how to do it. I don't want download link, I want link. There we go. So there's my report. That shows me the steps. So, but it doesn't show if I am on the if it fails. So maybe that's actually where you need the report. Okay, there's a bunch of other stuff here. I think I need to move on because I've been talking too long about this. But there's a bunch of others. There's a benchmarking action where you can get some diagnostics about your site. You can get like how fast each page loads, and that's kind of useful if you also not just want to test functionality, or but you also want to do the what's called the you know, you want to see whether your site has been degraded, whether each page takes a long time to load. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about, so I think I showed you the header filters. I showed you that inside the test. That's just all around a little bit nicer. We worked a lot on the positioning. You can clear that now, and that sort of seems to be a little bit more sensible. You can open and close it. And you can play with that. Let me just show you where that's configured. You set this here, header filters and toggle header filters. You enable both of those, and then you will get this button up here, and it will have the header filters up here. That is one thing. The other thing that we've been working on is again related to the agents. Do I have an agent here? Okay, the other thing we've been working on is the agents. So we didn't have for some time an ability to run a SQL as part of a tool inside an agent. And partly of that was there was a problem with the configuration. And that you couldn't have, we have these little things called field repeats, and they couldn't be nested. So that's one thing that I've been working on. So you now get, I mean, I know it's not the best UX here, but it does work. And now you can have like, so the idea is here, you create your query parameter. You want some sort of tool. Let me just step back here and say what I'm doing. You want the agent to be able to run some SQL that you have predefined, but with some holes in it that the agent fills in. So here the idea is for this agent, I've given it a tool, and that tool is that it can run SQL that I've defined. This is not your sort of agent can run any SQL it wants to, because I think that's a massive security problem. We may give you that option as well if you need it. But here we, we did want to give you the ability to write some specific SQL that it can run. But that means that SQL needs to have some holes in it, and those are the query parameters. And then here you can define these. Okay, so let's see that. So I actually want to run that as part of a view. So let's see this, whether this should work. So I've asked it to talk like a pirate, and I'm going to ask it a question about books because it can select books. So let's see. So I can just say, how many pages in the book by Herman Melville. And now, tools name empty string. This did work yesterday, so I've messed something up. What have I messed up? SQL query. Why is this not working? Tools name empty string. Expected a string. Wait, do I need to? I need to give it a name here. Find books. It was actually a useful error message. But I should maybe make these required. Search a database of books. Okay, so now let's try again. Let's close this. It's thinking, and it's hopefully querying. Oh, it didn't actually run that test. So look, maybe that's because I need to... Oops. How do I undo? Oh, let's just find it. Maybe I need to be more specific. So I didn't choose to pick that tool, but that's usually the problem, is that, you need to be more specific about these descriptions, and, yeah, you just need to enter something more specific that's more relevant to the query for the user. Okay, I think I've gone through that, what we've been doing, sort of improvements. That's taking a long time, and we have a question, and let me address that, because it's an important question. So let's say I have two servers. One is my production server, and it has all my users' data. And one has the some sort of development instance that I am doing that I maintain to develop further functionality, and then I want to roll that out when I want to roll that out to my production service, but I want to do that sort of quickly, so that the users don't see sort of me building, but I've made a bunch of changes to my local server, either local or some other server that's what's often called a staging server or development server. Sometimes you have three, sometimes you have a development, staging, and production. And so the users will just see that deployment will be quick, right? So it'll be, a second or however long it takes. So I've just port all of my changes from the development to production. So this is important because you may be experimenting with different things and you want to see how it works, and you don't want to expose your production users to that. Okay, so the way you do that in Saltcorn is... Can I do that now? I don't have two servers, so we have to pretend that I'm two different servers. But what you do is you go to the backup tab, and you do this with snapshots. So snapshots are sort of like restricted backups. Snapshots contain the application build, but not the actual data in your rows. It doesn't contain your user rows, doesn't contain any... It basically contains everything apart from the table data. So it doesn't, like, if you look at my, where's my books table here? It would contain, for this table, it would contain the fields, it would contain all of the views and the triggers and all that. just not the actual data, right? So this is what you typically want. So you're building a snapshot, you're building an application, and then you want to transfer the snapshot over. All right, so then you've got the new views and everything linked, but the data stays the same. So now what happens when you change your data structure? Okay, so I mean, if you have a new field, if you've created a new field in your development instance, then that's fine. That will just transfer over. Greg, will snapshots capture if I make view field page deletes as well as changes adds? If you delete a page, good question. They definitely track changes. If you delete a page, I don't know. My guess is not, but we can try it. Let's try it. Okay, so let's see how this works. Okay, so I go to my backup and I download a snapshot, basically. Snapshot now. I guess I do this. So you can also snapshot every hour. You should do this. You should click this button because it allows you to restore views. Okay, so then I snapshot now. And you might want to call it something like, release 1 or something like that. And now here you see the snapshots and you see the name. And now I download this, okay? So I've got this downloaded, and it's now, I can pick it in my it's a file in my download folder. And now to restore, actually it's very simple. You just click here, and then you don't see my file browser now, but I just pick this. Here I just pick. I'm in my file dialog, and I just pick that file, and it's restoring, and now it's restored that snapshot. So that's what you do, right? So you would, on your development server, you would download a snapshot, and you would restore it on your production instance. And people do this, and it works. Now the question is, does it delete? Yeah, let's try that. So how would I do this? So let's see. How can I do this? If I do now, wait, now I have to. Sorry, I have to switch on my brain. Now I want to simulate that on the staging server, I have deleted a page, and then I've made another snapshot, but now I have to go back to an instance and restore that. How can I do this? Okay, let's try this. So now I'm looking at, okay, let's delete this one called iPhone SE. Let's delete that page. And now I'm going to take another snapshot. Huh? Oh, is that because unable to find page 4? Is that because that's linked somewhere? No, it's not linked. I do have a page group. Sorry, what am I doing here? Is that because it was part of the page group? Okay, I guess that was part of a page group, so that stopped working. Now, okay, so now I have a snapshot, what do I want to do now? Now I want to restore the snapshot with the page, which I'm doing now. Which one was it? I think it was SE we deleted, right? And now I want to restore the snapshot which had the page deleted. Oops, I need to download it. And now I need to restore that. Oops, where are we? Down here. Now I want to restore. Wait, what am I doing? Now I want to restore the one that. Yeah, the second one. So let's see if it's gone. It's not gone. No. So question is, yeah, it does not delete. So I don't really know if it should. Should it? I mean, it's interesting because it's actually interesting because snapshots are implemented as packs, and packs are adding functionality to your site. I think actually it should. Snapshots should delete, but they should be differentiated from packs. So maybe we can add a field like a flag to the snapshot to say that this is the complete. I think that could work if we want this. I think we can do this. I think, we can say somehow add some information to a pack that says this is the complete set of tables of pages, tables, and stuff. And anything that's not in this snapshot should be deleted. I think we could do this. I think that probably is the correct thing. I think it should be deleted, and it's not right now, in answer to the question. Okay, great. I've been talking for 50 minutes. If there are no further questions, I might call it a day and wish you a happy rest of Friday and a good weekend. And I am not doing this in 2 weeks because I am away, but so it'll probably be in 3 weeks until we have the next kind of office hours, and then I'll try and do something there. So we are now, as some of you may have noticed, we have now released release candidate 1 of Saltcorn 1.4.0, and so we're now in a pretty hard feature freeze. There aren't going to be any new features for 1.4. I'm sorry about for those people who had bugs. There may be bug fixes. There will be bug fixes. That's for sure. That's the point. But the features are out now. But we're already working on features for the next release, and also we're changing it, so I think we're not going to do this thing with odd being unstable, and even being stable. I think we're just going to have like the next release is 1.5. I think that's probably because it has taken a very long time, and I think we've made some large changes in 1.4, but I want to stabilize things a little bit and make more incremental changes and focus more on reliability and small UX fixes in the next couple of releases. Jose, suggestion: change YouTube description of Saltcorn office hours so we can know what to talk about. Yeah, that's a good point. I do make a list before of what I want to talk about, and maybe I'll share that when I circulate the link for the next next session. Okay, great. Thanks for joining us. Have a good weekend, and good to see all of you.